So I grew up in a house where music wasn't commonly played. Like at dinner time at my house, everybody being Japanese, coming from a Japanese house, I mean, there was no music. But my sister did have a record player. She was 11 years older than me, and she had some old Beach Boys records, maybe a Beatles record, and it was like another world. It just really reached me. In elementary school, I played the flute, and I got pretty good at it. Now, by the time I was in junior high, I remember the first day of junior high, first thing I saw was these drummers, and they were so cool. They had bell-bottom jeans, and they were drumming, and their hands were doing this, and they had long hair. They had everything that I wasn't, And the second thing I saw was this group of cheerleaders just gawking at the drummers. And at that moment, I said, I want to play the drums. So when I was in high school, I used to go watch Buddy Rich play at Disneyland. Buddy Rich was known as the world's greatest drummer. And I would sit down at the Carnation Gardens and, watch him play. And it just blew my mind. I couldn't believe that a human being could do that. To this day, I've never seen a drummer play like Buddy Rich. I mean, his hands were just fast. It was like just this blurry, fast thing. And he was like just this total asshole. He was like just yell at his bandmates, just demean people. He literally was my idol. So at Kennedy High School, I was like the only Japanese guy. I wasn't really super popular. I mean, it could have been because, I wore flip-flops to marching band practice in the morning. I don't know. It could have been because that was before vanity sizing. I mean, to this day, I believe I'm an L. So since Buddy Rich, could play like that, and he could garner this big audience at Disneyland, I figured that's what I needed to do. That was the mark, So in my bedroom at night, I would practice my hands. Through time, I'd slowly speed it up, and I did that every single night. I mean, when people at Kennedy were at parties, I was in my bedroom playing the drum because I felt like if I could just get that down, if I could just really blow minds, people would notice me. It's Kennedy, and it's a pep rally. The football players were out there, and they were dressed like cheerleaders with makeup and everything, and people were laughing. We have to follow that. And the drum line had to go out there at a certain time, too. And, it sounds kind of neat in the auditorium. And then it's my turn to take a solo. And so I'm taking the solo, and people are screaming and cheering for my solo. So after the assembly, suddenly everybody knew who I was. After that, I became the drum major, and that's the leader of the entire band. I remember somebody asking for some time off to go on a family vacation. And I told them, you can either go on the family vacation or you can quit the band. Daddy was going on his family vacation. And I said, good, we don't need you in the marching band. So I can't remember how many people I kicked out of marching band, but it had to be 3 or 4. I don't really know why they were all so upset. I just wanted 100% loyalty. So I was the drum major for Kennedy High School, and I had a cape, I had a Caballero hat and gloves, and I would just march around the field, saluting and doing, different types of moves and this and that, and I just thought that I was pretty cool. So I remember at the Kennedy Field shows, I knew that my parents were out, but I never saw them. And they never came up to me at the end of the show to say anything, I just would get back on the bus and leave. And I remember a few of my friends' parents, the dad might come down there to the edge of the fence, and say hi and maybe give his son a hug. So after high school ended, I continued to play the drums. I was in a band called Shoot the Moon with my friend Joey. We got to open for the Pixies. And I did drumming on national television and local television. My band's music was on college radio. Myself and my friend John were in some of the top drumming magazines. So drumming slowly becomes a community. Everybody you know is a drummer. Everybody knows you as a drummer. It just becomes who you are. At one point, I'm training with the #1 drum teacher in Los Angeles. I'm going to conventions. Every single one of my friends is a drummer. We're just going to drum things every day. It's just drums, 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 drums. My life revolved around band practice, shows, playing, and then my dad died. My band ended. And when my dad died, I stopped. So instead of practice with my band, I'm on a couch, and I'm overeating. I'm not moving. My doctors are telling me that it's beginning to affect my health. For 20 years, I stopped playing the drums. This thing that previously was the definition of my life. Looking back, no matter how hard I played the drums, my dad never heard me. Now that he was dead, the chances of him hearing me was gone. My friends, all my drum friends, some of them very famous, were so concerned. They couldn't believe it when I told them that I quit playing the drums. The looks on their faces. They didn't know what to say to me, but they didn't accept it. Many of them never accepted it. I didn't play for 20 years. But, there was one good thing that happened in those 20 years, and that's that I had Kate and Apollo, my 2 children. And I've never, ever done anything in my life more rewarding. I never felt like I had more purpose than when they came into my life. Through being a dad to my son and my daughter, I learned some of my toughest lessons. Becoming a dad made me think about my dad. He never showed me love, and he never ever, did anything to try to get to know me. At first, I resented my dad. I couldn't imagine not showing love to my kids, and I put a lot of blame on him. People say that time heals all wounds, but that's not really the answer. What healed my wounds was going to therapy, learning to meditate, getting self-help books. My blame towards my dad shifted towards acceptance. I see you now, Dad. I thought that my dad was indifferent to my life, but those thoughts have shifted. I understand that you couldn't show me love because you didn't have that language, because your dad didn't teach you that language. And I always thought it was just me. You came from a physically abusive, unstable world in your home life when you were a child, and you protected me from that. You were never violent towards us. You provided us with a roof and stability. You took me to drum lessons and silently supported what I was doing. When you died, I felt like it was time to stop the drums. By stopping the drums, I felt like I could just stop everything. So during my 20-year hiatus from the drums, I had a counselor tell me that I really needed to play the drums, that I was using this walkout as a way to hide from my feelings. She felt so strongly about that she brought a trash can into the session. She turned it upside down, and she handed me a pair of drumsticks that she brought in. And she asked me to play on the trash can. And I remember it felt so strange holding sticks. And I played, and I didn't think much of it, it wasn't a breakthrough. But I never forgot what she told me. It was something that I knew that I would have to do at some point. She really felt that it was the key. She really felt that I had to return to music. Now that I'm in my late 50s, I've learned that it's important to listen to my emotions. I can't control them. Instead, I have to accept them. And I've also started to play drums again. And just as my therapist told me, it's been difficult at times. It's opened up a floodgates, is what she kind of warned me. And it did do that. But that's how you get better. That's how you progress. You have to face the thing. Otherwise, it just follows you forever. So in the beginning, I wanted to be a drummer to get girls, and then I wanted to be a drummer to be famous, and then I wanted to be a drummer to get my dad's attention. Now I just play the drums for the very first reason I began to play the drums. It's just because I love playing them. I love the sound of the drum when you hit it. I mean, I know it's a cliche, but I probably have never enjoyed the drums more than right now. It's almost as if I played drums as a little kid, and it was almost a religious experience. And then when I began to try to refine my drumming and make my drumming do things for me, I began to not hear it. But now at this late stage in my life, when I play the drums, it's just like the beginning. I'm connected to the music. I'm connected to myself.